Welcome to the Neuropathy Support Group and Podcast. I'm Chris, and I'm so glad you tuned in. It's my hope with this podcast to help all of us gather information that might help those that need support dealing with this debilitating issue. Hello, and welcome to this podcast. Before we get started, let's get the formalities out of the way with the medical and privacy disclaimer. I am not a doctor or medical professional. The information on this podcast is from personal experiences and is meant for group support. Additionally, the information discussed is not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any underlying conditions associated with neuropathy. All names here within are private and will not be shared with any outside sources. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any health decisions. If you have medical concerns or an immediate emergency, please contact your doctor or dial 911. Well, hello everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. I did. It's starting to get a lot cooler here now, and I was able to get to go see my grandkids on Friday. One of my the grandsons has flag football he plays in. He's in 6th grade, so that was fun. Every time and any chance I get to see them is a wonderful day for me. So before we get started, I want to remind you about on the Facebook side of this podcast. Don't forget my affiliates. There's a lot of good things in there, a lot of good merchandise to choose from, and that's what helps support this show. And also, I want to remind you don't forget to check out my merch store, where I've designed a whole bunch of different shirts, cups, mugs, keychains. There's everything there with all different designs. So if you get an opportunity, go check that out also. And all the links will be with this podcast, so you can do so. But thank you for being here. So today, we're going to be talking about Delta 10. Now, we've already talked about 8 and 9. So Delta 10, we're going to find out what's good and what's bad about these products. So what is Delta 10 THC? Over the last few decades, cannabis researchers have discovered many forms of THC, known as THC isomers. The most well-known THC found in cannabis is technically called Delta 9 THC, but today there are various isomers like Delta 8 THC and now Delta 10 THC. To put it simply, isomers are compounds that share identical formulas but are arranged differently. As we learned with Delta 8, this slight difference in chemical structure could translate into an entirely new experience for the user. Delta 10 THC was actually discovered by accident. It was found by a farm in California when extracting THC from a batch of cannabis that was contaminated with fire retardant. Well, that's great. Hopefully they don't put that in there. It's formed these mysterious crystals that were originally misidentified as the cannabis CBC and CBL, and then properly known as Delta 10 THC. Today, Delta 10 is made using a conversion process similar to one used for producing Delta 8 concentrate. So now, does Delta 10 get you high? Yes. Delta 10 is a form of THC. It has the potential to get you high. A Delta 10 high is said to be less intense than Delta 9 or the Delta 8. It also is said to be more of a head buzz than a full body high. Delta 10 THC tends to have a weaker affinity for binding the CBD1 receptors, resulting in milder effects. According to some users, the effects of Delta 10 are more akin to sativa high versus indica 1, typically with the less paranoia and anxiety. I think that's the one big thing, with me when I took those pills. Sativa strains provide effects that tend to be more uplifting and cerebral, making them better suited for daytime application, especially compared to Delta 8 gummies, which trend to provide more of a sedative and couch-locking effects associated with indica strains. Keep in mind that Delta 10 THC could still potentially cause you to fail a drug test. Most testing facilities are not yet able to distinguish between various THC isomers. That means it could come up as positive for Delta 9 THC. If you know you will be subjected to any kind of drug testing, you should avoid using Delta 10 THC products altogether. So where can you get Delta 10 products? The availability of Delta 10 products is pretty limited at the moment. We expect this change to sometime come within the next year. Currently, there are a few companies like Botany Farms and Delta FX offering Delta 10 products such as oil carts, disposables, and raw Delta 10 distillate. The Delta 10 market will likely resemble the Delta 8 market. This may include Delta 10 tinctures, gummies, and other edibles, capsules, concentrates, and oils, and of course Delta 10 THC flower isn't outside of the realm of possibilities in the upcoming future. Stick with brands that you trust, preferably ones that provide comprehensive certificates of analysis for all of their products. So I wanted to go back and take a look when this article came out. It just came out in August of 2023, so this is an updated article, so you'll be able to kind of take what I'm reading here to you to be true. But remember, if you're on good terms with your doctor, you need to discuss these options to him, and if he knows about those options, take his advice, not mine. I'm not a doctor. So here's a summary of Delta 10 products that are currently available. They're available in oil cartridges, disposable vapes, and raw distillate. And these are some potential Delta 10 products we can expect to see in the future. Edibles, capsules, tinctures, flower, which is the raw material, and beverages. There is one product that they show right here that you can get from, and it's rated at 9.5, but the brand is called Koi Delta 10 THC gummies. If you are in need of energetic Delta 10 high, Koi has you covered. The Koi Delta 10 gummies contains 25 milligrams of hemp-derived G10 per piece, for an exact total of 500 milligrams in the 20-pack jar. The gummies come in 5 refreshing flavors and are tested for potency and purity multiple times during the production to ensure the highest quality. Now, I've had gummies before in other products, and they do work. I have been okay by taking those. The only thing is it's so hard that I don't have no teeth to eat these, so I had to cut them up real small. So let's talk about Delta 10 and if it's legal. Congress legalized hemp in 2018 Farm Bill and included all hemp compounds and derivatives as long as they contain less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC. In May of 2022, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that Delta 8 met the Farm Bill definition of legal hemp product. The ruling apparently applies to other hemp-derived cannabinoids too, including Delta 10 THC, although some attorneys warn that other federal courts may come with different conclusions. And that was one thing I was going to say, is make sure the laws, what the laws are in your area. That's why I sent out on the last episode of Delta 9, I sent out a NORML. It's called NORML. It's a web page that tells you what's legal and what's not in your area. However, the circuit court decision only applies to federal law. Individual states still have the ability to ban or restrict sales and possession of Delta 10 and other hemp-derived cannabinoids, and that's what I was saying right now. Make sure you check. Delta 8 THC, which was the first hemp-derived cannabinoid to gain popularity, has already been banned in many states or restricted to state-regulated cannabis dispensaries. The same could happen with Delta 10 and related substances like HHC and THCP. So now we're going to discuss the benefits of Delta THC 10. Scientists have known about Delta 10 THC for quite some time now. However, there really hasn't been much lab research focused on this particular cannabinoid for a variety of reasons. Since it occurs in such negative amounts naturally, it wasn't even on the radar for most cannabis researchers until recently. There is a lot of work that needs to be done regarding the effects of Delta THC consumption. Here are some of the reasons you might want to try it. It's available online for purchase in most states. Produced from plants containing less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC. It provides more of a psychoactive experience than CBD. Offers a new experience to cannabis users from the traditional Delta 9 high, especially when combining with other various cannabinoids. When it comes to interacting with drugs, sometimes when it's for me, I just use the one to make sure that it doesn't interfere with anything else that I'm taking. Its invigorating sativa-like effects are desirable for daytime consumption. Lab test products are screened for contaminants, pesticides, residual solvents, vitamin E acetate, making them a safer option over THC cartridges sold on the streets. And that's another thing. Make sure you go to a reputable place that has this. But a lot of the stuff, I used to go to a place here in town, but now I just order whatever I need online. And a good place to go to if you want to find all the products you'll ever need is called Weed Maps, and I'll make sure I drop a link down on that for you too. Again, I'm not getting paid from them. It's just that's who I use, and I want to make sure that you have the same information I know about. So I found one more article about Delta 10 we can talk about. I may be repeating some information, but there is some new information also. And this one's called What is Delta 10 THC and Should We Use It? So here it compares Delta 10 and Delta 8. On a chemical level, Delta 8 and Delta 10 are quite similar, offering subtle, less potent therapeutic effects. Many users prefer Delta 10 products as there are fewer psychoactive effects like anxiety and paranoia compared to other types of THC deltas. How Delta 10 affects the body. So far, little research has been conducted on how Delta 10 interacts with the body. So here's some health benefits and uses. While research on Delta 10 is lacking, early anecdotal evidence is promising. Here are some of the suggested health benefits of Delta 10 and other cannabinoids. So the first one's going to be stress. Stress, Delta 10 reportedly produces an uplifting and relaxing effect. It's free from the intense euphoria and potential paranoia that other THC compounds can have. And you know what? That would be something that I would want also, because I do have problems with anxiety and stress. Anxiety it helps with. Delta 10 produces a feeling of relaxation. It shouldn't cause any anxiety or negative side effects that can come with the strong Delta 9 products. This makes Delta 10 a good choice for soothing anxiety without sedation. Next, we step into the side effects and risks. Delta-10 can still produce euphoric effects, though is far less powerful than regular Delta-9. However, more research is needed on these compounds, and each individual's unique ECS and tolerance levels will produce different results. If essential to consume only high-quality lab-tested Delta-10 products, some unscrupulous companies out there are happy to sell low-quality or low-potency Delta-10 since the FDA does not regulate the compound. It's important to remember that with Delta-8 products, Delta-10 is synthesized in a lab rather than taken from the cannabis naturally. While this is not a definite cause of concern, be careful using synthetic versions of cannabinoids, at least until more research comes out and any potential adverse effects are fully understood. So, how to use? With responsibility and caution, Delta-10 is used the same way any other cannabis or CBD product is used. Standard ingestion methods include vaping, smoking, edibles, topicals, and tinctures. So you want to make sure that you select an ingestion method that aligns with your health goals. If you're new to cannabis, it may be best to start with the topical products rather than something fast-acting and more potent like vaping. So here's the dosing guidelines. Proper dosing of cannabis depends on several important factors, including your tolerance levels and health goals. It's always a good idea to work with a doctor to determine specific dosage levels, especially if you're a beginner. But these guidelines can help guide your Delta-10 THC consumption. The beginner should start at a low dose of 5 milligrams or less, and don't exceed 15. Intermediate people up to 20 milligrams, and advanced people up to 40 milligrams. Ingestion methods should also be factored into dosing. A good rule of thumb is to start with the lower doses of edibles and higher doses of topicals. And that's the one thing you want to make sure. You got to realize some of these, when you take a pill or do whatever, usually it takes about 45 minutes to an hour for it to kick in, and during that time you're going to think to yourself that, okay, this isn't working, so let's go ahead and take another one, and you need to don't do that. You need to be very careful. And again, this website that I'm using for the reference material does say consult a doctor if you need help making those decisions. So let's talk about Delta-10 alternatives. If Delta-10 isn't up your alley, there are a lot of other hemp-derived compounds you can try. The most common is CBD, which you can get in all sorts of varieties, including oil, tinctures, edibles, capsules, and topicals. If Delta-10 isn't quite powerful enough for your needs, Delta-8 is a slightly more potent option. Keep in mind, the federal government doesn't regulate hemp-derived cannabis such as CBD and Delta-THC 10. That's why it's essential to look up the CBD legal status in your state. And I sent that form out to you, that reference material, on the last episode. So you should be able to see the link there. And go ahead and link up and just write in what area you live in and go from there. The bottom line, should you use Delta-10 THC? If you're wary of stronger compounds like Delta-9, Delta-10 may be a good option that delivers many of the same benefits found in cannabis. However, be wary of using products that aren't tested for safety and efficiency by the FDA, as they may contain harmful chemicals. If you're concerned or want to learn more, speak with a cannabis doctor to see if THC is right for you. So in the long run, my suggestion to you is to make sure if you're going to get these products, buy them from a reputable place that doesn't use pesticides or any of those products. I don't know if I'd buy it if you went to the local liquor store, I wouldn't buy products from there. Even a smoke shop kind of might be, a little wary of doing that also. Because you really need to be careful and make sure you get from the pure source. But thank you very much for being here and being through and listening to this podcast. I really appreciate all of you, and I will see you next Monday. Bye. As we come to a close, it's my hope this podcast and other sources, such as product reviews that I have discussed today, can better our lives and give us some relief dealing with neuropathy. This episode plus others are posted every Monday on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. And finally, whatever life throws at you, even if it hurts you, just be strong and fight through it. Remember, strong walls shake, but never collapse. Talk to you next Monday.